Good day, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Why You Do What You Do by the Building Industry Association's Bay Area Young Professionals. I am your host, Mark Sherlock. Our goal of the Young Professionals is to build the future housing leaders of the Bay Area through mentorship, networking, and education. Through this recently inspired video series, we will achieve this goal by documenting and sharing stories of industry leaders to inspire the current and future professionals of the building industry. To begin our inaugural episode, I am pleased to introduce the man who inspired this whole idea. His question of why you do what you do after a long work week was a constant reminder to myself of my goals and pursuits. This simple question was not only a reminder of these goals, but a reminder to self-reflect. I am honored to introduce the man behind the inspiration, Principal of DAHLIN Architecture and Planning, Mr. Donald Ruthroff. Don, great to have you on the show today. How have you been?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So we obviously already spoke about the format. We've got 3 questions for you. Answer them to the best of your abilities. Can't wait to hear the story and be able to share it. So Don, first question for you. How did you get to the principal of DAHLIN Architecture and Planning?
It's funny you posed that question, and I've thought about it, and I'll honestly say I'm not really sure. No, but seriously, it's been quite a journey. So I've been at this now, 36 years, actually. About this month. It's been about 36 years that I started working in an architect's office, and I started in a small firm, an architecture and engineering firm, and was I always love to tell this story because Jan's still alive. So the architect that worked for a friend of my dad's, he worked for my dad, was the engineer. He hired me while Jan, the architect, was on vacation, and came back from vacation, and I was sitting there, and he introduced himself, and he said, "So what's your degree in?" And I said, "Engineering." And he said, "What are you doing in my department?" I said, "Well, I'm going to architecture. I'm getting a master's in architecture." And when Jan left that practice about 2.5 years later, I was the only one he stole. So he started off trying to get rid of me. He gave me a metal building. That was my first project, was to draw a metal building. And when he went to leave, he took me. And I've always loved this job. And so I'll shorten it up. And I ended up, after the recession of '92, I went out on my own. And then I found that tiresome. It became too much about finding the next job for me. And then from there, I went to work for another engineer as his architect, and that was okay. And then I got a job on the edge of production housing. It wasn't really production, it was kind of semi-custom. And then I got a job in a big firm. Those were all one-off, one person, 2-person firms. Then I got a job in the West Coast office of a firm out of Houston that did production housing, and I fell in love with production housing because it's about collaboration, and the process is very collaborative and very iterative, and I find that fascinating, and I find it challenging, and I love it. And so I was there for a long time, 6 years, built a bunch of client relationships because the principal in charge of that office liked to do things his way, and he would tell clients that they were wrong, and he would tell clients that they didn't know what they were doing and they shouldn't do that. And then the client would turn around and call me, and they'd be like, "Don, would you fix this? Kevin will never come see it. It'll be fine. He'll never know." And so I'd fix it because they were my clients, and it's the way they wanted it. And that became the hallmark of my career. I built all of my relationships in this industry by focusing on customer service and doing not only what the customer wanted. It's not that. It's taking the customer's idea and then making it right. It's making it right. That's not a great word, but making it better. Taking their idea and adding in my expertise,
Sure.
and making it a solution that works. And so I had been there 6 years, and I was tired of fixing other people's problems. It was a split house, so there was design over there and production was over here, and I was leading the production group, and I was tired, and I went to a client who's still a friend here in the Bay Area. Happened to be, I was in Southern California, but I was doing work all up and down California. And I said, I'm leaving, I'm gonna find another job. And he said, well, would you interview with DAHLIN? And I was like, Pat, oh, now I let out who it is. I said, you know, they're in Northern California, my wife's in Southern California. And I thought, well, oh, it's okay. I haven't interviewed in 6 years, so I need to know what that's like. So sure, I'll interview, sure, set it up. So on a trip, I came up and I interviewed at DAHLIN after the day was over. And the next morning I had an offer, and 3 weeks later I was a Northern California resident. And I came here and brought my relationships, and you know, I ultimately became a principal because I think I worked hard at making sure my clients are happy, making sure that now all of our clients in the neighborhood residential sector are happy, and actually now that's even moving to a broader role of making sure that all of our clients are happy. And I think, you know, it's my focus on making sure that the customer's needs are met. That's always, it's you've heard it, Mark, because you worked for our group. You know, I say it relentlessly. It matters what our customers want, and it should be our top priority. And our business is about making sure that that's our top priority. So I think that's really how ultimately I became a principal at DAHLIN. Well, that, and I forked over some money, but you know, that's a whole other story.
Well, I appreciate the thoroughness, truly. I did not know you started in engineering. I did not know that that's where it all had started.
Yeah, my first degrees, my dad was so ask me the next question, and I'll fill that, I'll color that in. How's that?
You got it. You got it. All right. Question number 2. What was the most inspirational moment that has shaped your career path?
Hands down, it was my dad. My dad was a structural engineer, quite renowned structural engineer. And because of that, I was introduced to buildings and introduced to paying attention to buildings and paying attention to ultimately houses and structures, but and homes. But really, it was his love of buildings that started my path on loving buildings, and he's always been, to this day, is my inspiration. I think of my dad every day, and he's unfortunately been gone for 41 years in September. So all of my career, he never saw my career. He was killed right before I started college. Actually, the September I started college in January. He was killed in September. So he never even saw me go to college, but he has been the inspiration of my career always. I often say, if you know me and you are remotely drawn to who I am, it's Jim Ruthroff. I have my mom too. I don't want to. It's not lost on me, her influence, but I have my dad's personality, and he built a business around this. He had clients like Hilton Hotels, and the predecessor to Westfield, which I can't even think of their name. But anyway, he did big shopping malls and big hotels. The Rainbow Tower in Honolulu is my dad's building. He did the structural engineering for that building. And so every time I see that, and it still is an iconic structure on Waikiki, and I see it a lot. I think of my dad, and so he's absolutely the inspiration for my career.
Wow. Thank you so much, Don, for going into that. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure I can definitely say wholeheartedly, you definitely made him proud with the longevity of your career and what you've done. So I appreciate it. So the third and final question, Don, you're the originator of it and the whole inspiration, the theme behind these going forward. Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I'd love to take credit for this question. It's actually Simon Sinek's question. It's a question he asks his team. And I love it because I think it reminds us why we get up in the morning and, now walk 10 feet to my desk, but, that'll change again. But, I do what I do because I love homes, and I love thinking of the fact that I have a hand in creating a place. Someday I'll be able to do this without crying. I have a hand in creating a place for a family to grow, whatever that family looks like. And it is the joy of my life. And that's why I do what I do.
Thank you so much, Don. Really appreciate it. I could not possibly have thought of the first person that I wanted to interview with this. You're the whole reason why I got into this, this secondary profession that I just kind of had to take a trip down. So thank you again for sharing. Thank you for being the first guest. And I can't imagine there's not going to be another person who's inspired by your story. And I can't wait to share it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks, Don. Have a great night. I'll talk to you later.
You too. All right.
Bye-bye. And that is a wrap on our first episode. Thank you so much to Donald Ruthroff. I am your host, Mark Sherlock, and always remember why you do what you do.